Hey folks, Sam here with Sam Wood Outdoors. Time for another fast track trapping video. And this one is kind of different because we're not going out trapping. We're here at the Wisconsin Trappers Convention. Most states have a Trappers Convention. They have a national convention that travels from state to state to state. And a lot of people never get the opportunity to come here, or they think this is only for selling products and I'm not gonna save that much money because maybe you gotta drive a few hours and everything else. That's really not. That's part of this, but it's not the whole picture. So we want to do something a little bit different. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not endorsed by anybody. We're not coming here to actually do anything except for to try to give you the experience of a Trappers Convention. We're gonna talk to some fur buyers. We're gonna talk a little bit about the market, the things that I do when I come here. I'm gonna meet up with old friends, new friends. We're just gonna do things a little bit different, and we're gonna try to give you the experience and why you should come to these Trappers Conventions and support them, because it's not always about just coming here and buying your product. It's a whole lot more. All right, here we are. We're at the Southern Snares booth with Brian. Brian has become a huge supporter of my Wisconsin Trappers page. Donated a bunch of stuff. We really appreciate that.
Oh, anytime.
He's also, you're going to be seeing some of his stuff in the canine, Fast Track the Canine Trapping video we're doing this year. He's sent me some stuff we're going to try there. But anyways, so we got a few things. How did you get into trapping?
You know, the very first trap I set was, I was camping and I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and it just kind of took off from there.
Took off from there.
I actually had caught a raccoon in that, and it didn't hold him. He just kind of got out and went on his way. But
right, but it got you going.
So
then it progressed, and then you became a bait and lure maker, correct? You make your own baits and lures.
We do. Yep.
Probably the one I hear the most about that is probably your claim to fame is this gator tail or gator oil or something.
Yes, the pure gator oil.
So he has this pure gator oil. It's supposed to be an awesome canine thing, and so that's I think that's probably your niche claim to fame is
Yes.
You know, we try to tell everybody, buy a lure, try it, get something you're comfortable with. I don't care whose they use as long as they're trapping, but I've been hearing a lot about gator oil.
Yep.
So that's probably something people should try. But you have a full line. I mean, you sell basically everything you need for trapping, right?
I do. And you know, we make a lot of the shows, make a lot of the conventions,
right.
And we have a web page. We sell on other platforms
which
as well.
Which is southernsnares.com, ain't it?
Southernsnares.com.
Southern Snares, or was it Southern Snares and Supplies?
Nope, just Southern Snares.
Southernsnares.com.
Yep.
Like I said, we really appreciate everything you do for us. You have everything a guy could need, so we'll walk around your table and show people that. Here's the one thing I got to ask you though. So you've been a trapper from very young. You've evolved into a bait and lure maker. That evolved into selling all the supplies.
Yep.
Now, what's the one thing you could tell a brand new trapper? What is the one piece of advice you would tell a brand new trapper?
Take your time. There's the thing that the new trappers come about and that they struggle with is they'll set their traps and they won't have anything for a few days or maybe even a week. They get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Take your time. Learn what you can from the guys that know what they're doing.
Yep.
And you know, when it comes to equipment, even you don't have to buy the best equipment. Get the buy the equipment.
I'm a firm believer. I tell everybody, and everybody says Duke traps ain't they're the lowest of the low. But here's what I tell everybody: I buy Duke traps. I love Duke traps. I buy a lot of Duke traps. I can make a lot of sets, and I catch a lot of fur. So
yep.
But so take your time. That's a good one. And there's where one of the main things I'm going to ask people today too, and I've been asking people is always, what do you want to tell a new trapper? So that's pretty good. So what do you want to tell veteran trappers? Because you're going to have a veteran trapper come. Why should he buy Southern Snares?
Well, if he wants quality, we've got the quality. You know,
your snares are. You sent me some, and we're going to be using them in the canine video.
Yep.
And I do like your snares and the swivels and all that. So
yeah, we've upgraded some of our equipment in the shop, and if you look at some of the swaged ferrules and things on there, they look completely different than what you'd see on a lot of other made snares. So you know, the quality is definitely there, and even the veteran trappers, you know, as long as you're trapping, you're not going to stop learning. So there's always
exactly. I
learn.
I learn every single year. We just had our trappers event, and I learned some things, so it was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the veterans get hung up on I know it all. I've been trapping for 30, 40, 50 years. I know it all. Actually, dude, you probably don't know shit because I don't know shit. I just get lucky.
Yep.
You know, and I learn every year, and I get taught a lesson. And it's,
well, that's the thing. You never quit learning, and I've got some of those guys that come up to me. Well, this is the way I've done it. And I've done it for 30 years, and it works. You know, it may work, but you may tweak it a little bit, or you may find something else that works a little bit better. Don't be so closed-minded. Keep an open mind and keep learning.
All right. Well, I appreciate everything you do. We'll get a little view of everything you got, and we'll show us some of that gator tail.
Yeah.
Gator oil.
Yeah, we got a good display.
Gator oil, Southern Snares. I think that's his claim to fame. I hear a lot about it. So once they go there for that, they'll probably buy more. So
sounds good.
We'll move on to the next one. Another part about these conventions is I always run into guys and they tell me I'm YouTube famous and everything else, and that was this gentleman come walking up. So you obviously watch my videos.
Yes.
What's your name?
Bob James.
Bob James, Sam Wood. Bob wanted to be famous and he wanted to get on YouTube, so we're going to put him there. And he wanted to be so much that he left, like, are you his buddy, his dad, or uncle, what? Brother?
Brother-in-law.
So his brother-in-law, he just pushes him up here to the traps, leaves his back to us, and we don't want to hear what he's got to say. So anyways, how long you been trapping?
A long time.
Long time. Well, what's a long time? Rough estimate. Within 10-year increments.
30.
30 years. What is your main trapping? What do you like?
Well, I'm a coon man.
Coon guy. You're like me. I love them coons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's just taking up space. We don't want to talk to him. He's got his back to us. So you're a coon guy. All right. So you come to the conventions. Why do you come?
Meet a lot of guys.
Lead a lot of
See
guys.
a lot of products. Yep.
And you bring your brother-in-law?
Yes, sir.
Is he just only because he's in a wheelchair and he can carry your stuff easy? We don't need to talk.
Yep.
Are you a trapper?
Yep.
This is what he does to you in the woods?
Oh, no. This happened to me last winter.
Last winter.
Yeah.
Well, here, we can turn you around. We might not hear you because you don't have a wireless mic. Oh, bang them into traps. So anyways, we're out here. You come to the conventions, meet a lot of guys. Obviously, you probably pick up all your supplies, or most of them, because you can get it cheap. We don't have So if you were to tell a guy that never been to a convention, why should he come to one?
You learn a lot. You learn a lot.
You learn a lot, okay.
Yes, you
and
do.
then, so now you've been trapping 30 years, and this is what I ask all the people that own a booth here, and I'm gonna ask some of the spectators that we're gonna interview. What is your one piece of advice, quick, easy peasy, Japanesey, to a new trapper?
Oh, I like the dog-proof traps.
I hate them. No, I did hate them. I know how to use them now. So you're thinking that a new guy, but so what about the dog-proof traps? What's your advice? Guy comes out here, he buys dog-proof traps. Now what?
It's simple to set. It's simple to set in position. Areas, easy to set for areas.
Easy, yeah, because you're not limited.
It's great
to
for
it.
youth. I mean,
Youth, yep.
Yep.
And now what would be your one piece of advice to veteran trappers? We all know veteran trappers know it all.
Well, a lot of veterans are handicapped.
Yes, and you know, we're working on some stuff here in Wisconsin. With last year we had Sky. She went out, took a handicapped trapper out, had some issues with the DNR because he couldn't set the traps. And I think the Wisconsin DNR, they'll probably watch this because they watch everything I do. You have guys like this who've been trapping for how many years?
Oh. Been trapping since 12 years old.
12 years old he's been trapping, so that's
72.
72. So that's like 60 years of trapping. And now the state of Wisconsin is going to make it, basically, according to the laws, you can't hardly trap. And that's bullshit. This is what we need, not only the conventions, and we need all the guys joined together and everything else so we can take care of guys like this. These guys, we're going to give you advice on how to trap, and we just need, there's some common sense things we need to change. So that's where it's at. Hopefully you don't shove him in the corner anymore. You know, I know you want to be famous and get on YouTube and he just jammed you up there and left you. And no, so we appreciate it. Keep on trapping. Hopefully you get him out this year. We are working on getting some laws where you can get out and he can actually help you.
Yep.
And we're going to make it right.
If not this year, next year, I should be back walking and using my hands again.
Right. But Sky actually took a guy out that had gotten in a car wreck and became a quadriplegic. I think it was a car wreck, but he became a quadriplegic, and then the Wisconsin laws don't allow him to basically trap. And the warden said, if I catch you, I'm going to give you a ticket. Well, I think enough of us got on that warden's case, lifted up a little bit to discretion. But so this is another reason why you guys all need to come here, band together, learn, and then also help each other out. There's a lot of people that are 72 years old that need help trapping just as much as the 12-year-old kid that needs, and what a great opportunity. You get and we're trying to do some stuff with Trappers Ed because I think that really slows down. We need to fix that. But here, why not put a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old with a 72-year-old, and what a team they would make and learn and teach each other. We need to open, as Wisconsin, we need to open that door. So I appreciate talking to you. It's great meeting you. Just keep on trapping. All right, we're at another booth. Liesl Rusat. Huge online presence. Huge. I mean, you run a heck of a line and do a Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
He does everything, and obviously a bait and lure maker.
Correct.
Okay. So first of all, how'd your parents come up with that name?
It's just a family name.
Family name.
Family name. Yep. Liesl, named after my grandpa.
Okay. So anyways, Rusat. It's not Russet. I always thought it was Russet, and so I told him he needs to say his name in the videos more than he does. So anyways. How long ago did you start trapping?
Oh man, it's been several years ago. I don't even know the exact year. Several years ago.
Okay.
Full time. This is.
Oh right, you've turned it into your job.
Yeah, this is a full time. Yeah, this is it.
And so then you went from obviously a trapper to a bait and lure maker.
Correct.
And then you just. I know you travel a bunch. You do all the conventions. I mean, you're into this. This is your deal.
Yeah, this is it. 100%.
Okay. Out of all your baits and lures, what's your one claim to fame? The one.
My one bait that I use the most is all predator paste bait.
But
as far as the consumer goes, Fatal Step is overtaken.
So Fatal Step.
Yeah.
And
that's a beaver muskrat based bait.
Okay, so we got a paste bait, and it's ground bait just like everybody else has, and
then this is a horse based bait here. My all predator paste bait.
I always liked horse. So you're a big predator trapper.
Correct. That is correct.
Canines.
Yep. Canines.
Fox,
cats. The whole felines, canines. That's my baby.
So, if you were to tell a person, obviously everybody has baits. We all love our baits. Everybody sticks to their baits and everything else. But your one piece of advice to a new trapper:
work hard.
Work hard.
That everybody looks for the secret in here.
Everybody always. That's
everybody
what I'm saying.
looks for the secret in here.
We're going to talk to a ton of people that make lures, and everybody has their own thing.
But I mean, and you need a good lure to catch animals, but you got to work harder than the guy in front of you. That's the secret.
And now, what would be your advice to a veteran trapper? Because we know veteran trappers know it all. They don't.
My one piece of advice, especially when we're talking about coyotes, if you can't hit them from the door of the truck, you're working too hard. Everybody gets off of the road. They drive down the road and they say, man, look at all them coyote tracks. And then they go 30 feet off of the road to go put their trap in the ground. Listen to what's in front of you.
All right. So that's cool. So
Rusat. Liesl Rusat.
Liesl Rusat, your website?
It is rusatbaitandlure.com.
rusatbaitandlure.com. And your Facebook page?
That's Liesl Rusat's Trapping America.
Trapping America.
You know, you ask about claim to fame.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to that. This right here, guys. My private stock urines.
I've heard about it, and you're right. That's exactly why we should go to that. It has nothing to do with what makes your private stock.
I own the bobcats, I own the coyotes, I own the fox. I have them all on site. They're in a building like this that we're in here today, so they don't get rained on. So you've got a pure urine that you're getting. It's not diluted with water. They're not even on automatic waters because they leak, which dilutes the urine. Okay. And they're on a meat-based diet. And when I collect
meat-based diet is huge. If you guys don't know about that, throughout the years I've learned one thing. If you have animals that are not on a meat-based diet, their urine definitely smells different than an animal that is on a meat-based diet. So if you buy from somebody who gets their urine from a fox farm or a coyote, we don't have many coyote farms, but fox farms or stuff like that, that they're fed a a low meat-based diet. It's more hormones, more of filler and stuff like that because they're just trying to grow them as big
They're
as
trying
they
to get
can.
them as big as they can.
Yeah,
put
so
as
it's
much
a
fur
different. So your coyotes and your bobcats and everything, that's all you want from them? You're not in it for the fur?
Nope, I'm not a furrier on this side of it. I am collecting urine. That is,
So
that
that
is their
huge.
purpose.
So there you
That's-
go. If you're looking for pure urine and
Yeah, it's not cut or diluted with water
and
or
I
glycerin
know a
or
lot of the
anything.
old time trappers used to take a syringe and go into the bladder and get that urine and use a coyote's urine from one spot to another. Is that feasible nowadays? You're talking back in the 70s and 80s when these guys were making a living running long lines.
You'd have to catch an awful lot of coyotes. to get
Exactly. You
enough
know, they would
urine
catch
to-
a coyote and they would take the urine out of that coyote and they'd go to their next spot and spray it around, and that's how they did it. Today's day and age, you'd have to. It wouldn't be economical
No, it
for
would
most
not.
people. So why not buy it from somebody who has it? All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
That is
guys.
the claim to fame right there. Rusats. For $15, I think I'm buying this. Dude, this would be awesome in the man cave. Dude, yeah. Whack. Dude, sometimes stuff gets, I'm thinking I'm buying that. All right, here we got another young trapper. This dude's like a badass race car driver. I'm serious. This is little Dayton Rain. His dad dropped him off. I think I got sucked into babysitting or some shit, but he dropped him off. No, you were trapping last year. Caught a
Yeah.
bunch of critters. I followed you on Facebook, and he follows me all over. And so you're a trapper,
Yeah.
but you really are a race car driver.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
that's what makes the money and gets the girls, right? Does the trapping really get the girls?
No.
Not as much as the race car. I think I did watch you. I think he's a little smitten on some little girl race car driver this year, ain't you?
What?
Wasn't there a girl race car driver I seen you in a picture with? Or was she just a fan?
I think fan.
Did you sign an autograph for her?
I don't know. I don't
Have you-
remember.
Have you signed autographs?
Yeah.
See, how badass is that? How old are you?
No, 10.
10 years old. So, we're not even going to talk about trapping. Race car driving. How'd you get into it?
Well, my cousin, he started and then he just wanted to get out of them and go do ATVing, so I hopped in and
And do you win?
yeah, a lot.
A lot? Like most every time, eh?
Yeah.
See, I told you he's a badass little race car driver. So you go racing, and then so when you're done racing, that's when you go trapping.
Yeah.
What do you, so you're like me, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Uh-huh.
So what is, if somebody your age, and not only race car driving or trapping or anything else, how do you tell people to go for it? That's just what you did, right?
Yeah.
So you get a young kid and they want to do something. What should they do? Just
Hop in it and
hop in it and go. So you race what kind of cars?
restrictor now.
Restrictor what? I don't know nothing about racing.
600 cc.
So what do they look
engine.
like? They got the wings on the back and
They have
right?
a front wing and a back wing.
front wing and a back wing. So do you race against people who are only your age?
There's some older.
Older?
Yeah.
So do they set it up by how old you are or how fast the car goes?
No, just they throw you into a certain class and then
So what class are you in?
restrictor.
Restrictor class. So they hold you back.
Yeah.
They don't even let you go full bore. Have you
No.
gotten to go full bore yet?
No.
You want to go full bore?
Yeah.
So anyways, you don't even have a Facebook page or nothing for your racing, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
7D Motorsports.
7D Motorsports.
Yes.
And that's you.
Yep.
You guys got to check it out. Not only does he trap, he is a badass race car driver. And he's a huge follower of mine, and I follow him, and it's pretty cool. So why do you come to the conventions? Because your dad brings you, and then he drops you off at me, and like, here, babysit my kid while I go. I mean, dude, you should be watching me. You're the badass race car driver. You're out here picking up chicks,
No.
working on sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what I'm doing here, working on sponsors. All right, like I said, here's a little Dayton Rain, 7D Motorsports. Put some trapping videos on it so we get some trappers following you. And we appreciate everything you do, man. Win them races. This is Rocky Boulder. We run into another guy that posts a lot on Wisconsin Trappers. You do actually post a lot on a lot of social media on Facebook and stuff. You're pretty boisterous. You're kind of like me. You got opinion and everything else. But Rocky, he comes to the conventions. He buys stuff, but he comes here to kind of meet with people and get a voice because Rocky writes up laws or bills or proposals. Resolutions. So, and you hear me talking about, I'm trying to get this system refined because when you go to Wisconsin Trappers, they always tell you to write a resolution, take it to the spring hearings. I'm against that because a bunch of people can voice their opinion that really never trapped, never did anything, and then we get a negative ball rolling there. So you proposed a couple proposals. One I'm behind, the other one I'm not behind. So your first one was the otter.
Yes, allowing 220s to be used after the rat season.
Here in Wisconsin, when the muskrat season closes, we can't use 220s to catch otters. We got to switch over to 330s. There's really no reason. It's like, why are they? It seems like Wisconsin's really against a 220 trap. They don't want us using it on dry ground. They don't want us using it in the water. So that you did a proposal. Did you take it to spring hearings?
Yes.
And it went pretty good.
Went through there, and it went through the Fur Harvester Committee in August here, and it passed that one as well.
So we're looking at that law is probably going to make it, and I think that's a good law. The other one you did was
allowing conibears on dry land to be checked like water sets.
So every 4 days.
So.
And that's the one I don't get behind. But we're talking because there is some things that I think we can change and make it a. And you kind of knew yourself. You were like,
right.
I don't think this is going to make it.
Right.
So are you like me? Do you recommend the spring hearing or?
I have only done it because I felt that the WTA has been
lackadaisical,
non-existent. There's no one that steps up and says.
And that's why I think we need the WTA, and I'm hopefully going to meet with a few of them. We all do need to unite. I'm going to join the WTA again today. It's been a few years since I've been out, but we do need to unite, and we do need to get a stronger voice. We're getting a new president, but the one thing is we need to be making proposals instead of always giving and giving and giving.
Right.
So you did that. So my thing is, and I'm going to get with you, and I got you a state representative's name, and we're going to try a different avenue with some of your stuff and your ideas. Is we're going to bypass the spring hearings. We don't need the spring hearings. Anybody tells you need a spring hearing to make a law change, that's a lie. The truth is, we need to bypass them. We need to get right into the House of Representatives. We need to get it voted on. We need to bypass a lot of that stuff. The DNR, there's Fur Bearers Committee.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to have a rule past them? They're really, the DNR is there to manage our natural resources and not make the laws.
Right.
And then they should be able to come back and give their recommendation, but nothing should ever die at the Fur Bearers Committee, as far as trapping goes or anything else, So we appreciate all you do and everything else. So we got a couple questions we ask people that we're interviewing.
Okay.
What is your one piece of advice you would give to a new trapper?
Well, one thing is just to get out there and do it. I think we need more people involved in trapping, younger people, older people, whoever. If you're a novice, just get out there and do it. And there's a lot of information on the web and on the phones today, how to do things. So make sure you're doing it right, but get out there and have fun.
Okay, how long have you been trapping?
Since I was 12, now I'm 48, so
a lot of years. So
36
what is
years.
One piece of advice you would give a veteran trapper? There's the question that throws everybody off, because we all know we're all veteran trappers. We know everything. We don't need any advice. But what is the one thing you would tell a veteran?
Maybe not be afraid of competition, and take a younger person under your wing, maybe, help the sport.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate everything you do. Keep posting on our pages and the other pages, and keep pushing them laws. And then make sure you get a hold of me. I'm in Facebook jail right now. If everybody doesn't know that, I spend a lot of time there. I think they're going to start renting me a room pretty soon. They don't want my advertising dollars. They're just going to make money off putting me in Facebook jail. As soon as I get out, send me a message, and we'll get you in contact with some of the state reps, and we'll help get the ball rolling. And
sounds good.
And one process, and we all got to work together to start making these law changes, and hopefully that we can convince the WTA to follow suit. And I think, and if you're in the WTA and you're a board member and you see these videos, dude, this is not planned. This is really the voice of what the trappers are struggling with, and we really need you guys to listen. So you take her easy, go buy some more stuff, spend some money, have some fun, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, this is another reason if you're a new trapper, old trapper, veteran trapper, one of the things you should be doing at the convention is talking to the fur buyers. And we have Dennis from NAFA. NAFA stands for?
North American Fur Auctions.
So you're an auction house.
We are the world's largest wild fur auction house at this time.
So a person doesn't come up to you and say, like your country buyer, and say, I have some raccoons for you to buy. That's not what you do.
We do not purchase wild fur at all. We are an auction house. We take fur on for consignment.
Right.
And we sell at consignment. So the more money that we can acquire for your raw fur, the better our consignments are going to be.
Okay.
So there's no money exchanging hands.
No money starting out.
No,
they
sir.
don't. But you do have some requirements in order for somebody to send you their fur. You don't take just a coon and a carcass.
We do have a green fur program, but
Oh, you do?
We are very limited on carcass animals and that. Our green fur program, anytime you're dealing with that, you are going to have overhead costs where
Right.
you are going to be paying for that, and that's deducted from your sales proceeds.
Okay, so as a new trapper, or here's another big one that's coming out that a lot of people are starting to coyote hunt. And a lot of coyote hunters are doing nothing with their hides because they have no concept of what to even do or what they even have. So let's say we're a new guy and you hear it all the time. What do I do with my fur? Where do I sell my fur? So new buyers come to NAFA. What do we got to do to get them from point A to point B to get them going? You obviously have a website.
We have websites. We have multiple different routes throughout the state of Wisconsin
Right.
and several other states. We have collectors that will actually pick up. Majority of the fur that they're picking up is the dry fur at that time. It's already been scraped, dried.
Right
this
here.
stage right here, this is a markable. This is what we call a raw piece of fur. It's preserved
same
to
way.
a point. Beaver.
Basically, it's just fleshed and stretched.
Flesh, stretched, and dried.
And dried.
And that. You start getting into the green fur programs and that, it's a little
You
bit.
try to steer people away from that. They really need to learn how to process their fur, or hire another trapper or something to process
Correct.
their fur.
Correct.
And then they go on your website, and it's kind of guide them through. They're going to, they sign up, they get a number.
Yep. You receive an account number. Once you become a member, you receive an account number. It's the same thing as a bank account number. Once you have that account number, that's going to be your number for the rest
Forever.
of your life. That is how all your fur is tracked through the program and that. Because every piece of fur that comes into our depots and that, before it's even graded or looked at, it has to get identified with ownership.
So this is the tag.
This is a barcode tag on here. These numbers running consignment would be
Your number. If this is my fur, this would be my tag and my number.
your number, correct.
Correct.
So all these numbers go back to your account number. Everything is tracked to your account number.
So when you divide my fur up, obviously you're not going to put, my fur comes in, I send it to you. You don't just put it all in a bin and a guy come by and bid on my whole
No,
bin.
sir. No, sir. It's simply just one little raccoon. One raccoon's going to be looked at 7 different times.
7 times.
7 times through the whole process and that. Nothing is looked at or handled until it is barcoded, so we
Right.
know ownership. Anytime during the whole process of sizing, pre-sorting, grading, coloring the raccoon, we can pull out any scan this, and we can tell exact ownership of that hide.
Okay.
At the very end stage of the whole process, all the furs that are in one bulk section and one tote
That are graded the same.
are graded identical.
And it's all the trapper's fur mixed together.
It's all mixed together. Even if you trapped on one trap line and you think that all your raccoon were the same primeness and that on that whole line and that, you ship them in. You say you had 10 coon from that one trap line, those 10 coon could be all in 10 different grades.
10 different grades.
10 different grades. It's
So then it gets all graded. Now we're off to the auction.
We're off to the auction house. Everything's been graded. All the barcodes have been read. So all those barcode numbers go back to your account number,
Right.
so we know where all your grades are. Everything is shipped from Stoughton, Wisconsin up to Toronto. Toronto is our major auction house. We'll have buyers of European block, Asian block. It used to be dominated by the Russians. The Russians have stepped aside a little bit because of the oil prices and that. Number one consumers right now are still the Chinese.
Yep.
They are still consuming.
And dude,
the-
they make some crazy stuff with
They make-
fur. It's like, what
Wow.
are you even thinking about?
If you look at the amount of wild fur that is harvested and the amount of natural fur that is being used out there, it's less than 5% of fur is still natural. It's all being enhanced one way or another.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it's definitely.
the Chinese, they are dominating the markets in that. The European blocks still specialize in a few other articles in that.
So your main buyers that come to your auction are garment makers.
Correct.
You're not big, strong trim guys, right? Yours are the garment, and that's
garment
where the top
makers,
lot comes in.
The top lots, we do have a top lot out there.
So if a guy turns in a hide and he's took extra care and he gets, everybody hears about these top lot awards, and that's the one thing I don't ever see anybody mention is that top lot is actually marketed. The garment that gets made out of that is marketed as a top lot garment, right?
Top lot garments.
It's a little more than winning just a hat and a thing.
And
Your
a
fur
certificate.
sells for the most, and then that's you actually market top lot.
We market
fur.
the top lot fur, and we do have another article that we label. It's called a labeled skin. Anytime you have a labeled skin on your statements, you'll receive a little asterisk behind the grade in that. Those labeled skins mean that they can only be, those garments, skins in that garment can only be a labeled skin. They cannot be mixed with a non-labeled skin. So it's the upper end of the grade, but
Right.
it's still below the top lot. That top lot program is more so, it is the best of the pelts, but it's kind of a trophy for the garment makers also.
Right. It's a trophy
We
for
bought the top lot.
trapper, and it's a trophy.
Yes,
It's
sir.
kind of like when I'm a country boy, and you go to the county fair, and somebody buys the pig or the cow for the most money. You know, that company gets to advertise, hey, we bought the cow. The cow wasn't any better, you know, but fur is better. But he gets to advertise, and that's why they market that garment as
Exactly.
made out of top lot. And now you said you have one that's also called
It's a labeled skin.
labeled skin.
Labeled skin.
So it's a little bit, it's in between the average
between.
Joe and the top lot.
Yes, sir.
So if you can't make one of the pickup points, everybody knows about the NAFA bag.
We have the-
there are probably more of these.
There's more
hung in the
NAFA
fur
bags out
sheds.
there than everything else.
Yeah, there's probably if anything, you guys can get one for your fur shed, and it gives her thing. But a guy would fill this with his furs.
Fill that with his furs, and if he's going to one of our drop-off collectors and that, they would be issued the paperwork ahead of time through
Yep.
the mail system and that. Your consignor receipts would be all made out. Your fur would be in the bags along with your bag tags, which identifies ownership of contents and that. These will go right onto the trucks. If you're unable to make one of our route collectors and that, you can physically bring them right to Stoughton, Wisconsin. We have no problems with people coming down for tours, looking around to see what the whole operation is about.
And this is something you guys really should do. You should. The easy part for me is catching the animals. The hardest part is selling the animals. And I work very hard. I don't sell a lot of my stuff at auction anymore because I have worked with private buyers, garment. I've worked very hard to get there. But this is where people need to go. And you should go and take to Stoughton and go to NAFA, go to FHA, learn what they do, learn what they're looking for. Sometimes you can sell a lesser grade fur for more money at FHA, but you could sell a better grade fur for more money to you. It's different markets, and people don't
Different
understand the
markets.
markets. You guys are garments. You're making the top end of the garment world, the fur coats and all that. So that's so then, you know, so they get their tags, everything. We got you your fur. It's all been graded. They're online. They can go online and check how their fur was graded.
Once you have that account number and that, you can go right online to check to see what your grades of your fur are. And the day of the auction, you can actually sign right on in with your account and password and listen to the auction live. So as it's going down,
You're watching your fur
you're
get
watching
sold.
your fur. Your fur will come up highlighted what you have in that lot, and you can see right then and there what your fur is selling for. So there's no big surprises, and sometimes there are some surprises on the happy end.
Sometimes there are surprises on the bad end.
I wasn't
But it
gonna
is what
say
it is.
that
But
part.
no, it is what it is.
Yeah,
And
it
like
is
I said,
what it is, you know?
but it's you know, there's less and less country buyers, and so the one thing I have some of the YouTube videos, and I always get the comments of how much is you hear it? How much are raccoons going to be this year?
That's exactly.
How the hell do we know? It's an auction.
we
The only
broke-
way you know is I've already sold some of my coons to private buyers, and I know how much I'm making and what they're looking for. And so that's a little different thing. But at the auction, you have no idea.
We have no
Don't come
idea.
to this booth and ask him how much your coon or your coyote's going to sell for, because he don't have a clue.
We don't have a clue in our crystal ball. We threw away years ago.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know?
done deal. But so this is NAFA,
North
at
American
Fur
Fur Auctions.
Yep, and just like I said, they're in Stoughton. You can go there and kind of get a tour. Is there anything that's you get a lot of questions? Probably the number one question to you is what?
Price structure of the animals and that, and probably on our green fur program. We have an awful lot of, people are just absolutely blindsided that
People struggle with how to take care of their fur.
how to take care of their fur, if it's a high school student, college student, or if it's a novice trapper and that, they have no idea that we have a green fur program. The best thing I can suggest out there, harvest your animal, get it dried, get it skinned, get it frozen properly, and if you want to utilize NAFA for the green fur program, we're more than happy to assist
when you said freeze it properly, what should they do to freeze their fur for the green pro?
The main thing is to make sure that it's completely dry.
And do we roll it up fur in, fur out?
It would be best to roll it up, fur out, from
Head to
butt
tail.
From butt to
Oh,
tail. From butt to head. So you cover
Fur
up-
out, butt
yeah.
to head. That's how they want them sent to their green fur. I really didn't know you had a green fur program, and that's friggin' awesome. So people can go there, and so that's pretty much the gist of what you would do if you want to sell your furs at NAFA, and that's kind of how the auction goes. And it is what it is. We appreciate it, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and
You can
it's just
ha-
another way to market. I'm going to have it.
You can have that bag.
Everybody's got to have a NAFA bag in their fur shed.
300 rats,
300 rats,
45 coon,
45 coon,
and no more than 35 beaver.
no more than 35 beaver. All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you never know what you're going to find at these conventions, but here we have a jug of blood you can buy for $2. And I think I know where they got the blood, because we have a bucket of dad for $10. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even want to know. But more power to you. It's pretty bad that dad's only worth 10 bucks. 12 bucks if you put them together. Hey folks, as we walk around, we get to meet a lot of interesting people. This is Arnie Grayler. He is a Trapper's Ed instructor here in the state of Wisconsin, and he's also a very active member in the WTA, Wisconsin Trappers Association. So we were talking about how I asked the questions of, or trying to do this video to get people to come to this convention and what it's all about and everything else. And you said you tell your Trapper's Ed students.
Yeah. As a trap ed instructor, a lot of young trappers that are just starting in the industry, and they kind of want to know where's the best spot to get good prices on equipment, availability, and all the things they really need to be successful trappers. And I highly recommend that they attend the Wisconsin Trapper Association State Convention, which recently has been up at Marshfield, Wisconsin. And it's always in September, the weekend after Labor Day. And it's a great chance to accomplish quite a bit. You can get all the gear that you're going to need. As you see, there's all sorts of vendors here. You're going to save money, not only price-wise, there's always convention specials, but the shipping costs, a lot of trapping
that's
gear.
why I do it. I'd save on the shipping. Even if I pay regular price, I save on the shipping.
Yep.
And you can shop around. A lot of times when you're buying online, fish oil might be cheaper at F&T, but mink lure or urine might be cheaper at Minnesota, and if you put the shipping together, it sucks. But here you can shop around and get the best price for each thing you're looking for. So definitely make a list and come. And the other thing I like about coming here, and you probably agree with, is the seminars. You get the, and not only the seminars, if you stop at every one of these booths, 90% of them, we have somebody who's making crafts here. Their kid's an awesome race car driver. That's why we let him be there. But no, if you stop at every one of these booths and ask one of these guys what their advice would be to a new trapper, there's a whole lot of knowledge here.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest differences I've seen over the years. When I was a young guy starting out in trapping, nobody would help the young guys because trapping secrets were just that, secrets.
Yeah, I had a fur buyer who taught me, so I was pretty lucky. Don Bauer.
Yep.
Don Bauer taught me.
Yeah. Now we're fortunate to have a lot of senior trappers that are willing to help the young guys, because we realize that the young guys are the future of this industry and sport. And if they're not successful and catch stuff, they're not going to be trapping long.
Very long,
So
yeah,
it's
for
very
sure.
important.
And then as an active, you volunteer here for some of the stuff to help out. What does the Wisconsin Trappers do? They kind of have a whole building up there, and they got furs, and what do they all do here to help new trappers or get people involved, or just to educate up there? I know that building's kind of set aside. We have raffles. We'll have an auction tonight. But what else do they do up there as an organization?
As an organization, we try to get the membership to be aware of current changes in the industry, whether it be regulations or market trends. We also do our best to go and develop the professionalism of our trappers so they can avoid incidents with non-target species. So education, communication of the current events, and probably very important also is just the camaraderie.
So if a non-trapper comes here and he wants to get into trapping, let's say he found out about trapping 2 weeks ago, he heard about this convention, he shows up there, he can go into the Wisconsin Trappers booth there, and they're going to get him steered in the right direction on how to get signed up for a class, memberships, give him a little bit of education up there, might find him a mentor, stuff like that. I know you were pretty talking about the mentorship program when we talked before, so and I kind of knew about it, but that's a huge thing in Wisconsin now, is a mentorship program. So not only veterans and new trappers, but non-trappers could come here and learn a ton.
Yep, I would call this one-stop shopping.
Yes.
Everything you need to be a trapper is here at the convention, from learning how to getting the equipment, finding out where to market your skins and how to prepare your skins. That's all part of this sport and industry, and it is here for certain.
Okay, so here's the question we've been asking everybody. We have 2 questions for you. One's going to be pretty easy, and the other one a lot of people find pretty difficult. So the first question is, what would be your biggest piece of advice to a new trapper?
I would first go and identify what animal species you want to trap, and then I would go and get all the information on that animal, its habitats, things that are unique about it, and then work from there to determine what trap size you need, get a lot of permission where you're going to trap, and take it step by step. And the more you do, whether it's scouting, outdoors, looking at the habitats of the animal, all that will make you a more successful trapper.
Okay, now here's the hard one. What's one piece of advice you would give veteran trappers? Because we know veterans, we know it all, we don't need any advice. So everybody struggles with this one. The one piece of advice you would give a veteran trapper?
I would say be open to the possibility of change. There's a lot of new traps on the marketplace now, and if you're not willing to try them, you may be passing up on some really good opportunities to catch more fur.
I believe in that, because you guys all know I did the video on the dog-proof coon trapper. I said it was the most over-marketed hype trap ever, and when I first got them, I struggled. As a veteran trapper, I struggled. I hated them. They just, and then once I learned more about that trap and figured out how to integrate it into my line, I love them now. So it definitely, so that's a great piece of advice. Well, I appreciate it. I hope to see you around.
I plan on being around as long as I can, because this is a lifetime activity. You just
it is.
It's
an addiction. Yep. It's all about it being outdoor addicted, and then trapping is trapping will make you a better sportsman or more observant into the world. I mean, and so much branches off of trapping into your hunting and your mushroom hunting, and I mean, there's so much that goes off of trapping. It's unbelievable. All right, we appreciate it. Thanks for the little interview. All right, folks, we have another fur buyer here. This is Guy Grunwald, and his family's been in the fur business for years. I sold to his dad used to show up in a van at Loretzon's in Wild Rose. So you were kind of the cross back in the day of the local fur buyer and the big guy, but now you've become basically the local fur buyer for a lot of people because we don't have the local fur buyers anymore.
Right.
So you have, basically, you're a fur buyer. You're not an auction house.
We don't auction anything. No.
You have no auction. So a lot of people think that you are making your money buying the fur from people and selling it at an auction. Is that true?
We sell nothing at the auction.
That's exactly what I tell people.
We go to China all the time.
You've already been to China this year.
I have been to China this year. My guys working for me have been to China this
So
year.
you already kind of know what you're looking for your hides. Every year, by the time trapping starts, you kind of know where you're at.
Actually, more importantly, I'm on my phone, throughout the night.
Yes, yeah,
and
exactly.
I WeChat back and forth. I'm up at 3 in the morning every morning from 3 to 4. Most of the raccoons sold in our company are sold from my bed because
Right.
I wake
They're
up at 3
awake
and they're awake and we're supposedly asleep, and that's how it's done.
So basically, the Chinese and all that, they come to you and they're looking for a specific fur, correct? Something, color, size.
Yeah,
they know what
sure.
they want.
Yeah, sure.
And they tell you
Sure,
that's what they want.
sure,
And that's
sure.
what they're going to pay the most money for.
Right.
And that's what you're going to pay the most money
Sure.
for. The rest of it is just bonus. A
Right.
lot of people don't understand what you do. And I tell people, it has nothing to do with the auction. I said he pretty much knows what he needs by the time trapping starts. And he knows how much he's going to pay because he knows.
Yeah, I mean, the market is fluid, though. I mean, the market can change, throughout the season. I mean, if we get, tariffs the second week of season that come in, it could be,
Right.
a big detriment. I mean, if a new fashion item takes off during the season, it could mean, the price goes up during the season. Or if we see, something that's already established that's maybe having a bad year as far as production, that could push prices. I mean, the raccoon, the last couple months we've been selling well, so we'll probably pay more this year.
Right. So the thing is, when I tell people, they say, why do you go to convention? I go to convention because I know what I need to buy for my season. I can buy it here. I can get it sometimes on a deal. I can Jew a little bit on the price and I don't have to pay shipping. And then I come and I talk to all the fur buyers and I say, what are you looking for this year?
Well, I would say what we're looking for is the Midwestern type coyote was discounted heavily to the more Dakota Western type coyote in the past couple of seasons, and it won't be discounted as heavily this year. So the price will be up significantly on a Midwest coyote, which is great news for a land trapper, canine trapper.
And coyotes are big now because this is the deer hunters are starting to become trappers and coyote hunters.
Sure.
It's taken off. But we get a ton of coyote people that are just, I shot 14 coyotes this year, and they basically toss them in the ditch because they have no idea what to do with them.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There's
So they could go on to gfwco.com, which is
find out where our route is. We have a route just about every county in the state of Wisconsin.
So they're going to show up in a truck.
Yep.
And the guy he can bring his coyotes.
He could
probably going to sell fur right now.
No, I'm not actually.
He can come with a coyote totally unskinned.
Totally unskinned. He can sell it to me.
So this is one of the advantages to selling to Grunwald is you don't have to know how to skin and prepare your critters to his standards, because if he gets them, he's going to prepare them exactly the way he needs to. So, and they can bring coons, mink, muskrat, anything.
We would basically suggest that, especially on the raccoon, that you skin it.
Skin it.
You don't have to stretch and dry it. We have machines that stretch them. We have machines that, scrape them. I would suggest on the muskrats, at least skin them as well.
Right.
And the coyotes, they're worth enough that if you do bring me a carcass coyote, it's still going to be worth something.
Right.
If it's a good coyote, even if it's.
But if you skin it, it's worth a little bit more.
It's definitely worth.
And if you flesh it, it's worth a little bit more. And
especially on a coyote can be worth $10 more just to skin it.
Yeah. So they're going to come to the route. Do they have to get a hold of you? And
no.
We've been talking to the auction houses, and you get a number and you that's nothing.
No, you just show up. We're there, and we buy till the crowd is gone.
And you write me a check.
And I write you a check.
Right there on the spot.
Right there on the spot.
No problem. So then, this is the other thing I hear a ton of, and it pisses me off. Oh, Grunwald screwed me on my fur. You've never screwed anybody. You know why I know that? Because I can go.
Yeah,
I can go.
You do
no,
certainly.
You're not paying me what I think it's worth.
Everybody has the option of taking their fur back, and the thing of it is
in the auction you don't.
No, you don't. And the other
Here
thing
you
is
do.
you may think I'm paying less than what the market is or something, but it's just that my perception of what the market is different than your perception.
Exactly.
I mean, I may think, I may see things, road bumps ahead in the market that you may not see, and I may not be wanting, to lay any more money out for fur, and that's why I may be cheaper than what you perceive the market to be.
But a lot of times I sold you fur that I got a little bit more I thought that I was going to get because that's something you were looking for.
Yeah, or I had guys, booth today, maybe something went down and they sold to me early, And like on the muskrats last year, they kind of went down throughout the season. They were able to sell to us early and get their money, and the market went down later. So it can work both ways, and I can be wrong too, though.
You are a totally different setup, operation, and market than an auction house.
Totally different.
That's what people need to understand. They can go to you. You're going to write them a check. You're going to take green fur in the round, stretched and dried. You take it all. You're going to write them a check right there.
Sure.
They can pay for their gas on their gas line. The little kid can come in with his 2 raccoons and
we'll give you advice as well as how to to help you to
help you and
make
get
you a better
better.
trapper
And that's the other thing. Here's the other big thing about going to Grunewald. There's a lot of other trappers there.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
a lot of times you can sit back if you're a new trapper and you can learn, or you can maybe ask somebody, or you can see how he's grading the fur and what they're looking for. So this is just another outlet of how to market your fur. And like I said, you're totally different than I don't think people really understand, especially the new trapper. They get online, there's a lot of preconceived, this guy's better than this guy, this guy's better than this guy. I try to tell people, if you spend as much time selling and marketing your fur as you do trapping, you'll do a lot better. Right. I don't sell anymore. Most of my fur, 99% of my fur, is sold to people that make hats. I don't even sell to you guys anymore because I've learned to market my fur, and I've gotten buyers through the years. People beat me up. I trap early season coon right off the bat. Oh, there's no market for it. There's no market for it. I have a market. I got hat makers love that early season coon because they're sewing it by hand and it's easier to sew. And, so I'm kind of like you. I go and I've already marketed my fur. I know what I need. So they don't need nothing, no ID number, no nothing.
Nothing, no.
Just basically your website will tell you the routes.
Tells where we stop, where we're staying.
So you're big. I know you're big in Wisconsin.
Right.
And you got pretty much every county you've stopped to, or real close to every county. Iowa,
Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, all of Michigan, all of the UP, Kentucky, Nebraska, all of Nebraska, the Dakotas. We're in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, most of Pennsylvania, and New York State. We basically buy everywhere. So we're without a doubt the largest.
And your family's been in this for eons.
For about 100 years.
So, so it's you're well established. So, any advice you would give a new trapper?
I would learn to skin my animals because there's a huge difference today between an unskinned animal and a skinned animal. I mean, to go that next step is a lot more work, and that's not so much worth it. But I would get your animal skinned. That'd be one thing. I would also find out what animals are plentiful in your area so that you're successful. I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing a kid going out and trying to trap muskrats when there just literally are no muskrats in their area. Go to the fur truck and see, hey, this is what everybody catches around here. Buy some dog proofs if you're a kid and there's coon in your area. Have your parents buy a dozen dog proofs because they're so easy to trap with. They make trapping so much fun. That's what we're about.
I'm the guy that I've said that the dog-proof coon trap is the most overrated coon trap ever produced. I struggled with them as a veteran trapper.
I don't know.
Now that I know how to use them,
I don't know. I have guys that
if there's coon there, you're going to catch coon.
If there's coon there, those dog proofs will catch them. It's easy for a kid to put a trap in the ground, put a marshmallow or whatever they put on them.
So now here's the tough question. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give a veteran trapper?
I would give a veteran trapper.
It's a hard question.
I would be similar. Like last year, we encouraged guys to go after beaver. We really needed beaver. Find out what is needed. You know what I mean? Don't just figure out what's in your area. Find out what's needed, and what's going to be. I mean, the coon market's going to be a little bit better this year, especially on the better coon. This year you want to wait till maybe the 5th or the 10th of November to start trapping because a better coon will be worth more money than they were last year. So find out what is needed. What's going to have some value. The coyote market is definitely going to be better in the Midwest.
We're getting a little more recognition of our coyotes here in Wisconsin. We never had a good coyote.
Well, you're getting more recognition because the market is just getting tighter. I mean, we just need more coyotes. That's the problem. That's the good thing. That's why there's getting more.
We've always had good coon, but we struggle with our coyotes.
But the coyotes, they have to use them. They don't have enough of the western skins, and the price has just gotten too high on the westerns, so that they're gonna have to substitute with a Midwest type coyote, and so the price will be a bit stronger this year.
So them are the two furs you suggest?
That's what I would certainly target this year. I mean muskrats will definitely have a market. And beaver will definitely have a market, but the top two would be the raccoon and the coyote.
All right. Well, we appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
Hey, thank you. See you this fall.
And, yeah, for sure. Like I said, go to their website, www.gfwco.com, Grunewald Fur. They're going to give you a check right there on the spot. They're going to take any from all the way from it being in the round all the way up to it totally processed and being flesh stretched and dried. So that you buy everything. It's your one-stop shop. They go everywhere here in Wisconsin, most of the other states, and it's just a different outlet for your fur than going to the auction. If you need the money now for Christmas money, everything else, I remember that's how I got my Christmas money when I was younger, was I sold my furs before the auction to Grunewald, and they've been around for eons. So there's definitely different options for people to sell their fur, and this is just another one of them.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, folks, here we are. We're with Scott Davis. He's been dealing used traps. I bought a lot of traps from you through the years. You don't know me, I don't know you, but I bought a lot of traps, and you've sold a lot of traps. You're basically a used trap dealer.
Right.
Is that your full-time job or part-time job?
We buy fur too, and I trap five months a year.
5 months a year, so that's awesome. So you've been coming here to the WTA for how many years? This is phenomenal.
32 years.
32 years you've been selling here. Do you have a website?
No. I don't have nothing to do with
nothing to do with the internet.
Nothing.
So anyways,
I don't want nothing.
You've been coming here, so you sell used traps. Guys would come here and buy used traps for you and everything else. And we had to really convince him to do this interview. He doesn't like the internet and all that stuff, but I said, at least give me the 2 questions. So here they are. What's your biggest piece of advice to a new trapper?
First, you should join all these associations.
Okay.
And come to these conventions, because you'll learn a lot here.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of demonstrations.
A lot of knowledge from a guy just like you.
Yeah, a lot of good prices on supplies. And
traps and all that,
yeah.
used traps. And I mean, there's everything here from the beginner to the collector to everything else. And you deal with everything in between. Okay, so this is the other question that always seems to be a tough one. What piece of advice would you give a veteran trapper? Guy that's been doing it 10, 20 years, 30 years.
Share your knowledge.
Share your knowledge.
Yeah.
That seems to be one that more and more people are coming around to. Back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't share your knowledge with anybody.
Now you got all these videos and DVDs, and they're selling them, and there are no secrets no more.
Exactly. If there is, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So all right, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And hey, man, I'm glad you've been here, and I'm definitely gonna. I got a few traps I need to get. We're doing another coyote video this year, so we're gonna get some double long spring traps from you. But we'll be back.
Okay.
Appreciate it,
Okay.
and I appreciate everything you've ever done for
Yeah.
all these years you've been here.
Yeah. It's been a good ride.
It's been a good ride. And then we just ask, and like you said,
I'm not going to quit trapping. I'm not going to quit buying fur, and I'll sell supplies at home, but I'm not going on the road no more.
You're not going on the road anymore.
No.
70 or all them years is just done. And that's cool.
I'm
though.
getting wore down.
Wore down. Yeah, you've been through the highs and the lows, and we're back in a low again. You said,
Yeah, they usually don't last 5 years, and this one has.
This one's lasted 5 years.
This is the 5th year, so it's.
And you know what? Maybe you should just get out and enjoy it a little bit more before,
Yeah.
because it's good trapping when the furs prices are low. We can have a lot of fun if you're a trapper.
It don't stop me.
So how do you trap for 5 months a year? Nuisance?
No. Just during the first season.
Oh, okay.
I don't
so
do no nuisance trapping. Yeah.
5 months a year you chase
And
fur?
I went to Arkansas for 25 years in the wintertime, January and February. I quit doing that 2 years ago. I went down there and trapped mink.
Oh, there's a lot of mink down there?
A lot of mink.
No kidding, huh? Still?
Yeah. Well, there's not the mink down there was, but I heard they're making a comeback. But you could go down there and spend 6 weeks, and if you know what you're doing, you can catch over 200 mink.
That's a pretty good chunk of mink.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate your time,
Yeah.
and I appreciate everything you've done, and it's good to get some advice from an old school trapper. So we're going to keep going around and talking to some other folks.
Yeah.
Good job.
You got more than 2 questions.
I did. All right, folks, we're in the fur demonstration, fur skinning and put up demonstration. This is put on by Greg, and he's with Fur Harvesters Auction, FHA, not Future Farmers or everybody else who always figures this out, but it's FHA, Fur Harvesters Auction. This is another place where you can sell your furs. You're an auction house.
We're an auction house. We sell basically most of our stuff sold in Helsinki, Finland.
through Saga Furs.
And one of the good things that people don't know is we now have an open border with Russia in Finland, right?
Yes, they've always had.
Have they have?
Finland's a visa-free country.
Oh, so this is really, but it's where we can get
Yes.
our market to Russia.
You betcha. So it's under 40 minutes
40 minutes.
from St. Petersburg.
That's
yeah.
awesome. So
5 minutes from Russian border.
So that's you think Russia's your biggest buyer, whether you're
By
there?
far. We deal mainly with Russia.
So when we were talking before with NAFA, they said their biggest buyer was China. This biggest buyer is Russia. So now you have two different markets, and I try to always tell people, me and you've been involved in some videos and try to educate people, you need to know your market.
Yes.
You need to know who you're selling to and what they want. And one year we talked about how you were looking at the coon that were blue coon, and you guys were wanting that, and you obviously want the best of the best, but you were also had a market for the lesser grades.
Absolutely, you still do it. Just the problem is today with the lesser grades, you're not going to be able to afford to hire someone to put them up for you.
So if you're a guy like me and you're an early season coon trapper, used to be there was enough money in it, you could slam them out, maybe give a guy a buck or two to do it. Now that the market is definitely closing in.
You bet. And it's like anything, whether it's a muskrat or anything else, it's going to come down to the same thing Canadians have. They have even with their beavers, they have an unlimited amount. It's a problem. How many can a trapper process? The faster you are processing.
That kind of sucks because this year I was looking at maybe hiring somebody. I'm sick of skinning all these by myself.
The more you can handle. If it takes you an hour to put up a muskrat, you're not going to be able to trap as many.
Right.
There's not going to be
and there's not going to be as much money in it. You got to learn. So when, that being said, for how many years have you been doing the fur demos here?
20, 30.
20, 30 years. So you guys will come here, you got a tent usually set up, you come and you can see he's put up a bunch of furs. We have at different times throughout the day, he'll do raccoon, fox, coyotes.
Anything caught in Wisconsin.
Anything caught in Wisconsin. You can come here and actually learn
see it done. Absolutely.
Skinning and fleshing and putting it up.
Yep.
And then you also have a booth in there, which is the Fur Harvester's booth.
Yes,
and so now they learn how to put their fur up from you. And now the biggest question I get is, where do I sell my fur? Well, we sell it to a private buyer or a small, we used to call them local fur buyers.
Which don't exist.
Which don't exist anymore. The market has done this too much and they're out.
The problem is that we run routes in Wisconsin. The problem with the green fur is when we run our routes for the March sale, which is just right into our grading season, that stuff usually then isn't going to get processed and sold until the May sale.
Right.
Always going to be a year advance, so it's a long time to wait. Unless you're close enough, you can drop it off. And so we're limited the amount we put up, we could get as much as we want or more. We turn it away.
So really you're looking more, I know before you used to have the best green fur program out there, FHA, you could go there and I think it was your brother and
we did
lot. Now you just said this year you're getting a little too old for this.
Instead, when the fur price drops, and a lot of guys quit. A lot of guys, you can try it, but it's tough when you're doing coon for. We're trying to have $2.50 on the skin coon. It's tough.
Right.
It's a hobby.
So your advice, or you said to me, you're going to have to learn to put your furs up, or you're not going to be selling fur.
You bet. It's not going to be the time frame to do it.
And we kind of heard that from Grunwald and everybody else. You're going to have to do it. So
it's
now,
gonna be a stretch of dried metal. We've been wanting it for 10 years. It's coming fast. And everybody thought, there's fur by now. The next step, there's still some processing, but it's limited.
Very limited.
If the coon market comes back, let's just say the coon average $25 tomorrow, and they can produce more than what's available get put up.
Yeah. When the coon market is high, guys that are skinning and fleshing coon can make more money than the trappers because it's an unlimited amount that they can do as much as they possibly can.
And right now there is none.
And right now there is none.
Plants have quit. They're doing.
So okay, we teach them how to get all of their stuff up, and then so let's just say they've researched and they want to sell. I want to sell my furs through Fur Harvesters.
Yep.
What's the first thing they have to do?
First thing to do is they go online. It's on our website.
What is the website's address?
Fur Harvest at Forharvesters.com, basically.
Furharvesters.com. So they go online.
And on that, it'll give you all the information, all the route schedules, agents in your area, times and when we're going to stop the closest, or the dates, what sale they're going to be on. Contact information, you want to call the whole.
So do they have to pre-register before they go and drop their furs off? So let's just say, okay, I know that somebody's going to be in my area this day. They can just show up there and they're going to take care of everything right there.
Write it up right there, and then once it comes in, it gets processed. You'll get an account number, and if you want it, we can email it to you. Put your email address on it.
Right.
We can put your phone number. We'll call you with it, and then you can go online and follow your stuff all the way through the sale.
So when they get their information, they're going to get a number and whatever, and then you're going to tag each one of their hides.
And each one gets separate skid ticket on it, and then after that goes into the soup and grades on merit.
So just like the other auction house, you don't throw all of this guy's fur and then somebody bids on all of his fur. It gets divided up.
It's divided up. You'll be in many, many different lots.
So who grades the fur?
I do.
You're the fur grader.
Most of it.
Right. So they're going to know if they came and dropped it off by you. They're going to know what their fur grades before it ever leaves the state. Really.
You know before it leaves the state. You come down and do it yourself if you want.
So if you're going to grade when do you grade their fur? Right away?
If they come down and do it, they can have at it. We're grading all the time. Yeah, if they come down when we're set up and grading for a sale, yeah, I get a lot of guys come down and grade their own. Size it, ticket it, grade it.
Oh, so they can be part of the process. They can watch the whole thing.
They're part of the process.
That's huge. That's huge.
And they learn. They'll do it for a couple of years till they understand what they have, and then they'll quit. You know, they won't come down. They'll start using the truck. But usually, first-time shippers drive it down.
Nice.
So they understand. They need some feedback how they're doing.
Yeah, and you know, the other good thing about coming here and watching you put up the furs is the furs get put up the way you guys, because there is a different standard between you and NAFA, correct? It's close, but some of the board widths and stuff like that, and then and you know, this is that's kind of huge. Before I've told all you folks, you need to find out. You need to educate yourself on your market. And if he wants his coons 5.5 inches on the ass, that's what you need to give him. If you give him 4.5 inches, it's not going to grade as good as if you give them exactly what they want. And that's what Greg will teach you here. He will teach you how to skin it, flesh it, and put it on a board exactly the way he likes it. And he's the guy that's grading it. So you're learning from the guy that is basically going to say what your fur is.
And sell it.
And sell them.
From top to bottom, it comes in.
From top to bottom, it comes in. So now that being said, we want people to come here and enjoy this. And then you not only have this, you have a booth inside, and they can learn a little bit about grading and stuff in there. But here's the 2 questions we've been asking everybody. What's the best advice you can give a brand new trapper?
Boy, and that's going to be education. Just time it out there and try to educate yourself. It's not catching the animal. You can find that out. It's so easy today to catch more than you can handle. It's learning the process and having an area to do it. It's not that easy. If you're renting an apartment, it's tough to put fur up in it.
You better figure it out. Better rent a storage shed and a heater.
Today, most of your trapping is going to be based on your ability to put it up.
And I've been telling people this, like I said, educate yourself on what the market is. But it's if people spent as much time putting their fur up and marketing and selling their fur as they did trapping, you can make money at this.
You did, and it's going to come to that. You're going to be spending much. It's not going to be how much you can trap. It's going to be how much you can handle.
So now the next question actually comes from basically our first interaction, and you won't even know this, but it has to do with my daughter and me and you. So this question, what is the best advice you can give to a veteran trapper?
Most of them are pretty good.
Right? We all know everything, but there you go. What's the best piece of advice? And then I'll tell you the backstory to that question.
The best advice to a veteran trapper is if you got a market and you're shipping, especially you're using auctions, you got to write them out. You're going to have good years in business, just like the stock market. By the time you think you bail out, you wish you'd have stayed.
Okay.
You got to write them out.
How this question came about was a lot of years ago. My daughter went through Trapper's Ed, and then, we come to the conventions, and Dad buys all his stuff, and she'd never come to a convention, so it was our first one, and she comes and she says, Dad, I want to go over there and watch the coon trap, or the coon skinning. And I'm like, Cody, Are you kidding me? I've taught you how to skin coon. We don't need to go over there and learn how to skin a coon. Dad's already taught you how to skin a coon. I already know how to skin a coon. I don't need to watch that guy skin a coon and put up a coon. I got her. She convinced me to come over here. And that was the day I learned the money cut. I never knew of the money cut. And we've taken that and used it in our videos and everything else. So if you ever see this video and you get to watch everybody's 2 questions that we ask everybody, you can know the last question of what would you tell a veteran trapper. That's how that whole thing came about. And it was really, hey, I tell everybody, we know it all. We don't, and you even say, wow, but you can, as a veteran trapper, you can always learn something coming to this convention. And I'm telling you, you might think you know how to skin a coyote, skin a fox, skin a coon, skin a mink, or whatever. If you sit through this seminar, I guarantee you're going to learn something. And and the one thing, I always come to you every year and I always ask you, what's the market looking like? What are you looking for this year? What do you think's going to be strong?
It's going to be strong. It's going to be all along here. It's going to be your best bet by far because the ranch maker is so cheap. It's going to hurt your otter, going to hurt your rats, your wild mink. Beaver are going to be stronger. That will be the backbone of fur business again, by far. It's not going to be selling about a pound. And after that's going to be the 2 articles. It's going to be the coon and the coyotes.
The coon and the coyote. So we got the same thing from everybody. And
the coon are not because the coyotes. The problem with the coon market is everybody says, well, coyotes are so high, coon will be a cheap alternative. We'll never have a coon market doing that. Can't be a cheap alternative.
They're 2 different furs.
And it's 2 different. It has to be a different usage. It doesn't make them cheaper. It's got to stand them on their own, and they will. Coon are a very unique, dyeable item, and it's going to be a very good article.
And I think, like you said, riding it out is a big
Problem's
thing.
going to be right now is in Summit too. Is we got an awful strong dollar. Remember, you're shipping now. You're not buying.
Right.
And that strong dollars. If the dollar's up 10%, your fur's worth 10% less. Market's got to go up 10% just to recover a loss.
Oh, I never thought of that. So the dollar plays a lot. The strength of the dollar plays a lot into the fur market, huh? I never knew that. Hey, I'm learning something, and I'm a firm believer. I try to learn.
Ask a farmer exporting his corn. You got a strong dollar, their corn's worth lots.
Do you think the tariffs are going to hurt us?
No, we've always had them.
So that
every country's got tariffs against us on everything we ship. Actually, could help us if they get the tariffs down to it's a level playing field. For instance, China. Could you imagine if everything? All the fur you sold to China over the years, if you got 30% more in your pocket.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Well, that's what they're taking. I mean, our tariffs support a lot of countries. Every country almost, other than, there's a few that don't, they have tariffs. So they pay less. You take a $3 rat, just on the tariffs you're selling to the Chinese, it's $3.90 you'd have got. $4 would be $5.20.
And they're keeping it. We're getting our $3. Everybody else is keeping the rest.
The government gets the tariff.
The tariffs. All right. Well, we appreciate it.
Well, you bet.
And it's we always learn something. So that's I learned about the tariffs and being stronger dollars hurting the fur market.
Everybody, including everybody that's selling fur is watching the dollar. You're not the coyotes. You take a $100 coyote and the
add 30% to it. Wow.
Or the dollar's up 10%. You lost $10.
Lost $10 on a $100 coyote.
I mean,
never thought of that. Thanks for hurting me.
Oh,
that just killed me. I got a $100 coyote. I was going to be proud. Now it's only a $90 coyote in real life.
Just an exchange, yeah.
Yep. And well, if you think about it, that's why back in the day when the Depression was, a guy could catch a mink. And that's where trapping really got its strongholds during the Depression. A guy could take a mink and sell it for what most people were making in a week.
It's all in exchange rates.
So it's all in exchange rates.
Even in the 70s, that was exchange rate.
Well, I appreciate what you do. I'm glad you
bet.
educate a bunch of trappers and you do the fur skinning videos. You've been doing them. Like I said, I think you only missed 1 year that I know of, but you're back on track and you got a nice setup and you're going to learn. You're going to learn something every time you talk to Greg. I've learned something every year. Yep. You change it up every year. And the best thing is, regular trappers, everybody who's in it, that's always wondering what fur prices are going to be. The one question I ask, did you go to the convention and ask all the fur buyers? No. Well, dude, you don't even do your legwork, and now you want me to do it for you? It's huge.
Problem with forecast is it changes in a month.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I could guess it that much. I'd be rich, huh?
Yeah, a couple of years ago we nailed it on the blue coon, and then last year we didn't do so well. And
No, I mean,
you know,
you can't predict it. The blue coon are still going to be decent as long as they're big.
but I'm telling you, one strong item this year that I've heard from everybody is going to be the coyotes. And they're saying the Midwestern coyotes, the Western coyotes, they can't supply the market anymore, so the Midwestern coyotes by default are going to start coming up.
No, this color it's by. No, it's by. Will be by. There's certain companies that only that handle that color and section of coyotes because not everybody wants a white coyote.
Right, everybody. Some people want to pale
Some
one.
want them blacks. I mean, they're paying almost as much for some of these eastern coyotes as westerns. It's not by default; it's by preference.
By the
Not
color.
everybody buys a western
Well,
coyote.
and you know,
Most
I
of
always
it-
Wisconsin coon has been
yeah, but our coyotes it's because of
the Wisconsin coon, and then what is it? The Missouri coon. People don't know that, but there's a southern coon that's got a really strong market, and that's is it the Missouri?
Yes, there's parts of Missouri. There is, but their biggest problem in Missouri is the size problem.
They don't have the size, but they got the color and everything else they're looking for.
Square
They're just
inches.
smaller. Square inches are.
It's a square
And Wisconsin's always got the bigger, even a little bitty coon with a small coon with the right money cut will get you up into the extra large.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, I appreciate
You
it.
betcha.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And you guys make sure you guys stop by these conventions and come to the thing. I think they post online too. And there's a sign of you have all the times. You give one about every hour, don't you?
Yes.
Every hour, all day long for 2 days. This guy's going to teach you how to skin and put up your fur. So that's a huge commitment. Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you.
All right, so another thing you come to these trapping conventions for is you get to meet up with some old friends. We were coming in here and Minnesota Trap Lines and Eric Coggin, who I know from bow fishing. I just ran into him and he's kind of got into trapping. He has a son, his name is Ruger. That's how immersed in the outdoors he is. But a sad thing happened here a few months back or so. Eric lost his dad, and but you came something positive out of it, and you wanted to impact some people. And I can't believe it's been, a week since you announced this, right? 4 days?
Couple days.
3-4 days he announced this, and he hasn't had anybody take it. And by the time this video comes out, it'll be too late. But we wanted to educate some people, so if this happens. So what are you doing after your dad's passing?
A couple days ago, my mother came to me with my dad's Fisher and Otter tags and asked if I could use them. And legally, in Wisconsin, I found out that you can transfer tags and preference points from a deceased person to a youth under the age of 18. So I had to go to the website, the DNR website, and print off this form. And right now I'm looking for someone that's maybe mentoring a kid or someone that forgot to send in for their kid that might be trapping otters or fishers. We have plenty of tags.
And we're going to get this information from Eric, and tonight we're going to try to get that tags to somebody. But the reason we're talking about this right now is I don't think a lot of people know. You know, I could die with 11 Bobcat preference points, and I could give them to my grandson or another kid. And I don't think a lot of people out there knew. How did you even find out about that law? I mean, it's not something that's like common knowledge. Did you
just kind of researched it and looked around and.
So all your preference points for everything can be transferred to a youth that is either in your family or just a random kid.
Under the age of 18.
Under the age of 18. And he already has Otter and Fisher tags he's going to transfer. So again, guys, you're coming here. I'm learning something new. There's a wealth of knowledge, and you run into old friends and new friends and everything else. And dude, that passing that on is crazy good. So hopefully, like I said, we'll get you information, and then hopefully tonight, if we ain't got it all worked out, I can get it. We're going to be at the auction, and we can have an announcement made, and hopefully we can get that to somebody. I hate to see it go to waste, especially when it can be done for so good, because, you know, obviously that your dad's legacy is going. But so anybody out there, if you know of somebody who's passed or whatever through the year and they're an outdoorsman, let's get these preference points passed on to the younger generation. It's just part of doing it. And thanks. And congratulations on you went fishing for alligator gar, not bow fishing.
Yeah.
Didn't even stick one, did you?
We shot a couple little ones.
So how was that? Was that your first trip down there?
No, it's my third trip.
Oh yeah, you didn't get no big ones like me and Todd did, huh?
No, we missed a couple big ones.
Todd, you got to talk to Todd about missing. Todd missing, I mean, he's like, oh, it's crazy. No, we had some good times. So Eric's big bow fisherman, and he bow fishes with Todd Witowski, who's who used to bow fish with me and still does, but he's still into big into tournaments and everything else. But so yeah, appreciate it. Glad we ran into you. How many wolf tip points you got?
2.
Me too. He's waiting for the wolf tags. You got it all picked out, don't you?
Maybe a little.
Literally a little got it all figured out. All right, we appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, so we're walking around the convention grounds, and we were kind of, Cody said I needed to find a woman and a kid to make this kind of complete. So we saw this kid, and he knows how to wear his boots because he's got his pants tucked into it and everything else. And then he was all by himself talking on a walkie-talkie, and we're like, there's our kid, but it's kind of creepy. So we round his dad over here, and this is kind of pretty cool because this whole thing, they're camping. And you can camp at the convention. How much does it cost you to camp?
We're here 3 nights, $5 a
$5
night.
a night. They got everything all set up, and this is how many years?
8 years in a row.
8 years in a row. So this is something I don't do. I have slept in my car out in the parking lot and done my second day or whatever. But so you can camp here and everything else. And then we got, so this is Hunter. So Hunter, how many years have you come to these conventions?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Do you trap?
Yes.
What do you trap?
Muskrats, coons, beavers, and that's about it.
So what do you like about coming here? What's your favorite thing?
Buying stuff and seeing all the people and seeing all the furs.
Oh, you get to see, okay. So what are you buying? Do you have your own money to do this, or you spending Dad's money?
My own.
Oh, so you come here and you spend your own money. And you buy traps, and do you buy lures and stuff like that, and baits? And
Yeah, and furs.
And you buy furs too?
Yep.
You do know that part of being a trapper is we're supposed to sell our furs, not buy furs, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you're kind of doing it a little bit backwards.
Yep.
So why don't you take the furs that you catch and either keep them or sell them instead of buying everybody else's furs?
Well, I didn't shoot a fox squirrel, and I would like to have a fox squirrel. So.
Oh, you would like to have a fox squirrel?
Yeah.
Does your dad take you squirrel hunting?
Yeah, and deer hunting.
And deer hunting.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You get to do all kinds of cool stuff.
Yep.
So we asked this 2 questions to everybody. And this is going to be the interview. So here's the 2 questions. And we're going to kind of change it up a little bit. So what advice could you give another kid about trapping? What would you say they should do?
Gotta think a little bit here.
Listen to your dad.
Yeah, listen to your dad.
Right? So is that, no, really, what's your advice?
Be careful. You don't want to get your finger stuck in the trap. That would very hurt.
Have you ever had your fingers caught in a trap?
No, I don't think so.
You got your finger stuck in the trap at the contest last year.
That was not me. That was a little girl.
Oh, okay. So now, we always ask everybody what they would tell a veteran trapper. But here's what I'm going to ask you. What would you tell another kid's dad to help them help a kid? What advice would you give a dad? Like, what would you? Is your dad too hard on you? Not hard enough? Or what would you tell a dad? Be patient. What would you tell a dad when he's taking his son trapping? What should he understand?
That.
Is there anything your dad does that aggravates you when you're out trapping or hunting?
Yeah, he said, just leave my space. I need some space to do this. That's what he says.
And you wish you were more in that space, huh?
Yeah, so I can help him.
All right.
Sometimes he lets me help him, but most of the time he's like, I need my space. Back off, please.
All right. And Corey could probably attest to a lot of that when I took him. So that is a great piece of advice. So we're going to leave you back to camping. Hunter, thank you for being in our little video here. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
And you're a pretty smart little dude.
Yep.
And way to wear them boots, man.
Thanks.
You're going to pick up lots of chicks like that. All right. Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right. This is probably one of the biggest draws for the convention besides the cheap prices and everything else, and that is the demos throughout the day, both days, Friday and Saturday. They have experts come here and they give demos on coon trapping and mink trapping and fisher trapping. They just have all kinds of demos, coyote trapping. They have a little area set up. They got water, pond, and bleachers. It's under a tent, and it's really, really good to come here, and you can get enough of the basics to go out and actually become a successful trapper, or at least have a base to start with. So again, it's something that's offered at these conventions. I know it's in the national conventions, most state conventions, they always have these demos, and they're really cool because you can ask questions and stuff like that. And if you're kind of shy, you can wait till later and maybe catch up with the gentleman who's doing the demo and ask him some questions. So like I said, demos are a big thing. All right, there it was. That's pretty much how it is to go to a trappers convention for me. But now we're at the end. It's Friday. Tomorrow's another day. We're not going to be here. Usually we come here one day. It's Friday. We get in and get out. But the one thing that we do, Cody's here with me, we always stay for the auction. It's kind of if she can get off work, we stay. You know, you can stay after this auction, you can spend the night. I've slept in my car here a few times just to meet up with more friends or whatever. You got the camping, we showed you that. But this is the auction, and this is the last thing. We're gonna go up here, gonna get a number. The money goes, usually I think it goes to support the youth trapping. I don't quite know for sure. They'll announce that, we'll see. We got a special little thing we're gonna do here. Hopefully we're gonna get a young trapper a tag. But so we gotta go get our number. We'll be back here at the final end. Hopefully we win a few things at the auction. And you never know what you're gonna get here. It's like from broken lamps to fur coats and traps and trapping supplies. And they try to get everybody out there to donate something. And they come in here and auction it off. And it's just a good time, and it's kind of the way we always end it. So hope you enjoyed what we did. Hope you got the whole gist of it. And hopefully after you see this video, you're gonna go out to the very next convention that you get a chance to go to.
Now 55, now 60, now 60, now 70, now 70, now 80, now 90, now 90, but a 90, I got 80 here, but a 90, now 90, how about 85, so you do that, I got 80 here, now 85, but 85, now 85, it's on 85, it's only $80 right here, line number 45, thank you sir, 45, hey, on a nice flag trap, that's a tomahawk.